Hello there. A great way to get the most out of our business tools is to use them together. Starting with version 7.2, Wrangler can use transactional data sets both as sources and as targets. Let's look at a couple examples. So I have a pretty basic Wrangler job here. It's ingesting some data representing revenue reports from our managers. It's performing some calculations based on that. But then we've got some errors that we're going to need to go in and fix, right? So this is a perfect case for Data Manager, where we can send those errors, we can adjust them, and then send them back into the pipeline. So let's go to our target, and then we can select from catalog, and we'll see our transactional data sets here available as targets. So I'm going to select my weekly revenue target that I created, which I created with just the same fields and everything as my Wrangler job. And then here we'll see that we've got two options for error handling. The first is write values as errors in the Data Manager. This is what we want. The errors are going to go into Data Manager and they're going to be flagged as errors, and we'll be able to go in and adjust them. So I'll click select and add to my targets. Then we need to map our fields, which is really simple since we named everything exactly the same in our data set. So I'll just go to Auto Mapping Tools, Quick Auto Map. And then when we run it, we will send those records to our Data Manager. And when we look, we've got our 100 records here for our weekly revenue. And we've got those flagged as errors, right? So I'm going to click Errors Only here. So then I can see all of Wesley's mistakes and go in and fix them. And I notice right away that Sydney is regularly spelled the same, even though it's wrong. So I can use this replace button here to select my store column, search for Sydney, and replace it with Sydney. And that's going to fix all of those, but his other spellings I'm going to have to do myself. I promise Wesley is really good at other parts of his job. And now those mistakes have been fixed, we can go ahead and approve it all and get that data back into our pipeline. Then you've also got times where your data is already in a transactional data set, like this one with baseball statistics, but you need to make formulaic changes instead of specific individual changes. Well, that's a job for Wrangler. So let's go to Wrangler and create a new job here, batting stats, create, and then the same way we did with the target, we're going to select a source from catalog. So I'll select my batting source here. Then we need to choose which status of rows we're going to use. I'm going to take all of my new rows and add this to my sources. And there's my baseball statistics. And now I'm ready to do my formulaic changes, which for that, I'm going to use another new feature that started in version 7.2, which is the Clover AI Assistant. And I'm going to ask it to do some work for me. I'm going to ask it to create 3 new columns for me, and then create the values for those columns using formulas for 3 very well-known baseball statistics. And then it's going to suggest some steps based on what I asked it to. And all I have to do is click Add Selected Steps. And then there we have our batting average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, with all the work done by the Clover AI Assistant. And now we can either send this data back into Data Manager as the target or send it somewhere else to any other target and back into our pipeline.